Welcome to Ignite Your Confidence for women in leadership who want to speak up and stand out. I'm your host, Karen Laus. Here you'll get all of the tips and tools that you need to stand out with unshakable confidence. Let's dive into today's episode. All right. Well, welcome everybody to another coaching session. I am really excited to have Angela Jeffries here with us today. We met on Clubhouse and never looked back. I've been so fortunate to know her, and she's been part of my group coaching program. And honestly, Angela, as I've told you, you are the absolute ideal client. I not only are you making progress and making it quickly because you're putting in the effort and the time, but you're also just such a delightful human being. I really, really love you. And I say that with all the gratitude also in my heart for you. So I want to turn it over to you and have you share about yourself and why you came to me for coaching.
Okay, well, let's see. I'm Angela Jeffries, as you said, and I live in Nova Scotia, which is way east in Canada, further east than Toronto. We're kind of like the forgotten part of Canada. And I am a shamanic healer teacher, spiritual healer teacher, hypnotherapist. And right now I'm writing a book about my life experiences so that I can help other people overcome their adversity as well. But it's all based on the work that I've been doing for the last 20 years, and just have fun doing it.
I love it. Well, and
Yeah.
what would you say is the biggest thing that made you want to join my group program?
Well, a couple different reasons. I used to be absolutely terrified of public speaking,
Hmm.
and I have been forcing myself to do more of it. And now I'm comfortable with small groups, but with my future plans, I want to speak in front of larger groups. So I want to make sure that my message is effective, that I come across in a good way, that I'm not rambling, because sometimes I have a tendency to feel that I ramble. I'm rambling already. See what I mean?
You're in good company. You are not rambling, by the way. But as
Okay,
you know,
good. Good.
I always joke around too that I'm a recovering rambler. So I get it. I get it.
Good. So I just want to know that I'm speaking well and effectively, and that's what led me to you.
I love it. Well, and
Yeah.
what changes have you seen since we started working together, which was about what, 4 or 5 weeks ago, something like that?
Well, the biggest thing right off the top of my head is in the storytelling component, because a large part of how I teach and how I do my work is by sharing my personal stories. And so I want to make sure again that the stories are impactful, that I'm not rambling, that I keep to the point, and I always bring it back to whatever the point of the story is for the client or the group of people. And I always wondered, because no one actually ever said to me, Angela, you're a great speaker, or I just love how you speak. I get lots of compliments of, oh, that was helpful and I learned so much and you helped me so much, but which was still encouraging and still wonderful to know. But I never was critiqued on my speaking skills or abilities or lack thereof. So in the classes, I'm getting that now, and that has been helping me so much. Plus, knowing the formula of storytelling, I've, for the most part, have followed it, which was also really good to know. So I'm feeling a lot more confident in what I'm doing already.
Well, I'm so glad. And it's such a good example of one of the things that I love to coach people on. And maybe that's in part also why you're such an ideal person for me to work with, because it's about elevating where you're at. Because the way I look at feedback just in general is how I love to give feedback. I'm sure other people too, but I like to be really clear about doing it in two categories. One is when something is actually distracting, like the rambling. When that gets in the way, then it causes a challenge, and then our listeners don't really want to stay with us. But then the other type of feedback is that what would make this person even better? And that's so much about what I feel like you and I have been doing together, and that you've really elevated as a result. So
And I love the way you give your feedback. Like the first time I heard you on Clubhouse, I was so impressed. And it was basically that first time I heard you, I signed up for your coaching program because you had announced it. You just announced it that night, and I jumped right on the horn and I said, I'm taking advantage of this.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. Oh my gosh. Thank you
It's
so much.
truth. It's
Thank
truth.
you. That's so great. Well, lest that people will think this is an infomercial about my coaching, why don't we get to coaching you because you were so gracious to volunteer. And it sounds like you've come up with a couple of elevator pitches that you want to practice and see which is the one that comes across in a more effective way. So, does that sound right? Or is there any other context that you want to give us here listening?
Yes, I recently changed my entire business model and trying to move more into mainstream and getting out of just the whole spiritual realm because what I do can help everybody. So I've been trying to find the wording for my new introduction, and I'm struggling with that because I'm so used to speaking such a tight knit genre that to open it wide and not scare anybody away, it's been difficult. So I've been working on that. So I have two ideas, two thoughts. So I thought that's what we could do.
Okay, I love it. That's awesome. So, do you want to start with the one and not tell us what it is? And then how do you want to do this? We didn't talk about that in advance.
Well, one is, how can I put it? Um, you know what? I can't describe it. I'm just going to have to say them, and then
Okay,
you're just going to let me know what you think.
I
I
love
think we
it.
just had to go for it.
All right, very good. You want to do them back to back then? Or do you want to
Sure.
do one and then I'll talk about that and then do the other?
Okay. All right. So the first one is, hi, I'm Angela Jeffries, and I'm a shamanic healer teacher and hypnotherapist. And I've lived a life of extreme adversity, things such as physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, rape, scarcity, and growing up with a narcissistic mom, and all the fun that comes with that. And the thing is, I've overcome all of this adversity to live a life of which I'm very happy. So now my mission in life is to help others overcome their adversity.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited. Do you want to do the other
Okay.
one now?
Okay. So the other one is, and it's completely different, says, hi, I'm Angela Jeffries, and I can help you change your mind. And by using insight, acceptance, empowerment, and optimism, and equipping you with the tools that you can use to help you bring you to a point of happiness. I'm still working on that one a little bit, you can tell.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anything more on that second one?
That's it.
Okay. Before I jump in with my thoughts, tell me what you like about each of them.
The first one I like because it tells the person more immediately what I really want to do with people more specifically, and I'm sharing my personal story. And that's what I've always done is shared my story. And I just launch right into it and then immediately turn how I'm using my life story to help other people. The second one, it takes me completely out of the picture as to who I am or what I do. You really don't know exactly what it is I do, but you'll know what I'm going to get you to, because at the end, you say equipping you with the tools that will bring you to happiness. So it tells the person what they're going to get out of what I do.
All right. Here's what I think. First of all, there's elements of both of them that are fantastic. What I'm also really impressed by is that they're both short. I know you're still working on that second one, but let's have you, just to make sure that everybody heard them again, let's have you do that. Let's actually have you do both of them again, the first and
Okay.
the second. And then, so if everybody listening, pay attention to which one you feel draws you more closer to Angela or wanting to say, hey, I want to call her or talk to her. So let's do that one more time.
Okay. So I'm Angela Jeffries, and I'm a shamanic healer teacher and hypnotherapist. And I've lived a life filled with adversity, things such as physical abuse, emotional abuse, rape, scarcity, excuse me, and a narcissistic mom. and all the fun that goes with that. But the thing is, I've overcome it all to now have a very happy life. And so now my mission is to help others overcome their adversity using the tools that I used.
All right. Very nice. Okay. So folks, that's version 1. We'll go with version 2 again, and then we'll go with feedback.
Okay. I'm Angela Jeffries, and I'm going to help you change your mind by using insight, acceptance, empowerment, and optimism, and with equipping you with the tools that you need to bring you to happiness.
Okay. Ooh. All right. Let me give you my thoughts.
Okay. I can't wait.
All right. First of all, I'm going to say hands down the second one. I'm going to do the bottom line up front and just say that. And let's talk about why, but we'll talk about the elements of both. As you know, when people first hear the problem or something interesting that grabs their attention, to your point about you've taken yourself out of it, the sad truth is nobody really cares about us until they know how we can help or why they're listening. As Donald Miller says, if a person doesn't make us survive or thrive, or we can't imagine how they would make us survive or thrive, we will probably tune out or not listen with our 100% presence. So that's why I like that second one, especially when you say that attention grabber. Talk about the hook. I can help you change your mind. Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so creative. And right away, we're curious. So that's the other thing, is that when you're doing an elevator pitch, you want to grab people in. You don't want to tell them the whole story. Now, flipping around a little bit, let's go with that second one still. When you said the equipping you with the tools. So right away I know, okay, I'm getting something here, and that's going to help me. What I would add to that, because now here's the benefit of the first one. You say what you do, or I'm a hypnotherapist, etc. Right away we know. So there's something about a container that we need as human beings to fit in. Well, what is this person? Sometimes if we can't figure out, well, what do they actually do, it potentially could be even more challenging to keep listening. Now, having said that, I would do a combo. I would suggest that you do that first one just like you started it. The help you change your mind was fantastic. And well, first of all, let me stop there. See, how is this landing with you? I'm just on a roll. I'm so excited.
No, it's all good, and it makes sense. And this is why I was struggling so much. And this is why I need help. Yeah.
I love it. So here's the thing I love about the first, what you do, and then the story a little bit, and the mission that you've overcome it, and the mission. And you did that so succinctly. That was the thing that was most impressive, because I know you tend to criticize yourself about the rambling. I don't think you ramble as much as you say that you do, by the way. And in this case in particular, that's what made it also really good, because it was so concise, but it felt like it was more about you. And if especially, I mean, you've overcome these things, but for somebody to hear in one sentence, rape, physical abuse, narcissistic mom, whatever, I know you said a couple other things, it could be overwhelming and actually disconnect you from someone.
Right. And that's not what I want.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that second one, saying I can help you change your mind, equipping you with tools. And by the way, I'm a hypnotherapist. I've got a story with quite a bit of, and maybe just, I know in general, we like to have more specific, concrete details, but maybe you pick one of them, because I don't think it's enough to say I've had a traumatic upbringing or a traumatic something. But maybe to say I've had quite a bit of trauma in my life, one of which is this, and yet I've overcome that. My mission is this. So I'd say a combo would work beautifully.
Okay. And you don't think that would make it too long?
I don't think so. Do you want to try it? Then I could tell you what to cut out.
Sure. No, we can try it. Okay. So basically, I just want to make sure that I've fully got what your suggestion. So basically, Angela Jeffries, change your mind, insight, acceptance, la la la, and spiritual healer teacher who's lived a life of adversity, such as a narcissistic mom. Something like that. Is that kind of the
Mhm. And then
framework?
I
Okay.
help, yep. And then I help whoever do what.
Overcome. Okay. All right. So let's give it a whirl.
Okay. I'm going to time you, by the way. And for anybody listening, this is also really good for anybody, for each person that's listening to do this. Time yourself, see how long you talk, because a lot of times we think that we're actually a lot shorter than we are. And then suddenly after 5 minutes, we're going, oh, they're still talking, but we don't even think it's that long. That is not you, by the way, Angela, but I mostly want to time this because I think you might be surprised that you can easily do this in probably 30 seconds.
Wow, because it seems like it would take me 3 minutes to say all of this.
Yeah, well, give it a shot. That's
Okay.
obviously why you're also here and it's helping others. So thank you for doing this.
Okay.
Okay,
All
go.
right. So deep breath. I'm Angela Jeffries, and I can help you change your mind by way of insight, acceptance, empowerment, optimism, and equipping you with the tools that you need to bring you happiness. I can help you overcome your adversity just like I did. I am a shamanic healer, teacher, and hypnotherapist, and I can equip you with the tools that you need to get you to a place of being happy.
Whoa! That was 26 seconds.
Oh my gosh!
That was so wow. And I love some of the things that you edited out. How did that feel?
I felt the ending was really blasé. Like the last little bit, because I felt like I repeated myself at a certain point, and
Yeah.
then it kind of killed it for me, and then I just kind of like just it was weak at the end. That's how I feel. So
Hmm.
I need to work on it, but I've got the bones now, so I now can work on it a little bit more, fine tune it, tweak it a little bit better.
Yeah, it was I really liked that. Now, of course, some tweaks. What I would say takes away from your message in the beginning is when you said by way of da 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 da, like empowerment, blah blah. I wouldn't put that in there because it sounds nice, but the truth is, after you say I can help you change your mind, all we want to know is, oh my gosh, okay. Now, even though in part it's tell me more, but I think if you skip that, because most people don't want the process, they just want the result. So if you skip it and say, I can help you change your mind. And then you go straight to the equipping you with tools. And then I loved when you said, I've had a lot of adversity, I've overcome it, and I can help you too. Some version of that you said. And it's actually interesting to hear you say it again without the specifics. And that would be something I would say play around with. Like, you don't probably even need it. The life of adversity is enough. You don't
Yeah.
need to say a life of adversity, such as a narcissistic mom. I almost feel like that diminishes that because then suddenly people go in one direction versus you've had a plethora of things. And maybe here's another potential is that you say, I've had a life of adversity, two quick things, and then you say maybe two of those things. So not just narcissistic mom, but maybe you bring up one other thing, like just show the breadth of the trauma or the
Right.
adversity.
Right.
Although I don't even know that it's needed. And I thought that then when you said I can help you overcome that, I might be repeating myself now. I'm trying to remember what the end was. And that's actually a good point because if I don't remember it and you thought it was lackluster, it probably was. So,
Yeah.
and that's the nice thing about being in process though, because I also want to encourage everybody listening that this is a laboratory, whether you're here on the podcast listening or you're practicing with someone else or you're just practicing on your own. It's trying out these different things and seeing what you feel good about and also of course what you test out in the world and see what lands with people. So, do you want to try it again?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. I'm Angela Jeffries, and I can help you change your mind. I'm a shamanic healer, teacher, and hypnotherapist, and I can equip you with the tools that you need to help you to have the life that you want. I've overcome an extreme amount of adversity in my life to now be a very happy person, and I wanted to help you do the same.
Ooh, my goodness. I'm loving these different versions. Gosh. Now I'm thinking about something else in the beginning when you say, I can help you change your mind. It might be interesting to say something like acknowledging what that looks like, or from in the form of something like, okay, I can help you change your mind. It'd be a question like, have you ever had such and such? Like whatever you potentially want to throw out there as a pain point. And if you were actually, Angela, what would you say? Like if you and I were talking and it was longer than a minute, what would you do to identify with me or help me identify that pain point?
How can I help you? What are you here for? Because each person I deal, because I have such a broad scope
Okay.
that I can help people in so many different areas in so many different ways. I'm not just in one small niche. I can
Mhm.
cover a lot of ground. So
Oh, shoot. You froze for a little bit.
relationship issues, financial issues, toxic relationship issues, it doesn't matter. So I need to hear from the person where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's helpful. And this is really good for people to hear because it's that whole decision we all have to make of how do we position ourselves? Do we niche or niche down? Like how much do we do that? How specialized do we become? Because I agree with you. You can help a lot of people. And yet, how do you attract the people to go, oh, I want to hear more from her? And my other question would be, would the common denominator be that people that you want to serve, would they feel stuck?
absolutely.
Okay. And
Yeah.
and so I bring that up because, for example, when I talk about my thing usually that I talk with people about is something, two versions. If it's not a dialogue and I'm just saying something, then it would be something like, you know how women often hold back from sharing their ideas due to self-doubt? Well, I'm on a mission to change that. I'm Karen Laus and da 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 da. Or it might be, have you ever held back from sharing your ideas due to self-doubt or fear? And then I figure out from their answer where I would go.
Right.
So do you
Well,
have a version of that?
thing is, you just reminded me something that is really important.
What?
This new focus of my work, this new direction of my work is based on a book that I'm writing using my life stories and the exact things that I did. And it's called Unstuck Yourself. So wouldn't it make sense to use Unstuck Yourself somewhere in the introduction?
Yes. I would say, isn't it funny how sometimes the things that are the most obvious are the ones you don't think of? Yes, that is such a good point. Wow. So where would you place that?
Well, see, I'm Angela Jeffries. I can help you change your mind. I've lived a life of adversity. Help you unstuck yourself by equipping you with the tools that you need to get you to where you want to be. Something along those
Mhm.
lines.
Yeah, the only change I would make is the unstuck before you talk about yourself when you said, I've lived a life of adversity. So I can help you change your mind. And again, for you, Angela, and anybody listening, we're just riffing here, exploring ideas. So that's, of course, one of the things that's so wonderful about experimentation and seeing, okay, well, what does land? That my thought would be saying the I can help you change your mind first, and then maybe something like either the statement, how people can get stuck sometime. Maybe that's you. I help people get unstuck by sharing my story of adversity and how I overcame that. And I have specific tools, and people love the word process or formula. So if you said something like, I have a specific formula, roadmap, whatever word you want to call it, and I help people that are stuck overcome that. And it's different for everybody, but I can help anybody do that. So I don't know. That's kind of a lackluster ending. I can help anybody do that, but that would be something that I would shift, is remembering the tendency for most of us is that we want to talk about ourselves first. It's just habit. So we have to switch out of that habit and think, what could I do in the beginning to connect with the audience?
Exactly. And where I use story so much in my work, it's natural for me to start sharing my story right off the get-go and then bringing it to the point. So in the introduction, I have to flip it. I have to reverse it. But where I'm finding I'm getting kind of snagged in this is by starting off with, I'm Angela Jeffries and I can help you change your mind. And then getting into unstuck yourself, they don't match.
Understood. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
when I said it the last time, you probably heard me hesitate a little bit. That wasn't a good pause. That was me thinking, this doesn't roll. This doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
As I love being able to say, I can help you change your mind, because people like, what do you mean change my mind? Like, how do you mean? Like, what does
Well,
that mean? Well, that can mean something different for every single person, because it reflects back onto them where they're at and
mhm.
what they need help with. So I love the idea of it. It's very creative. But then if I get into the whole unstuck yourself and roll out through that, it doesn't mesh.
Well, I can say this, that you could have a bridge between the two, because the connection I see is, okay, changing your mind usually has to do with changing a habit. Like, have you ever felt like you had a hard time changing a habit, or you were stuck? I actually help people get unstuck. Now, to your point though, is that too many hooks in the beginning?
Exactly.
Maybe there's too much. I think that's another example of trying it out and see what lands for people, and then go. I mean, because I do love to change your mind, but then it makes people hanging on that. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah.
I do
And where
think,
does that come into play? Yeah.
yeah, I do think that you could use a transitional statement that wouldn't take very long. And so much of it, though, exactly what you said a minute ago, that I want to say to you and everybody else listening, is you've got to own it yourself. You've got to feel like it's aligned, because if you don't, it's not going to come across 100%.
I think I have it. I
Yeah.
think I have it.
Okay.
It's going to stumble a little bit, but I think I got it. Okay. I'm Angela Jeffries and I can help you change your mind. Where in your life are you stuck? I can help you to, I can give you the tools, I can equip you with the tools that you need to unstuck yourself,
Yes.
and da 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 da.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's it. Well, and
Yes,
here's the thing. The most important thing is to get the opener, because people decide within seconds if they want to keep listening. So you can refine the rest. There's usually a little more grace for the rest. Not to say that you want to just have grace, you want it to be really good, but that's a really powerful opening, Angela. That's so good. And we are gonna bring this to a close because we're running out of time. But are there any questions or comments or anything that you want to say to the listeners?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say that just rolling it out, just trying it, and just experimenting with different ideas and concepts, just like we just did right now, it is so helpful. And to have someone to bounce it back and forth with, it
Yes.
really makes a big difference. So thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's
Yes.
really helped me to see things in a different way. You helped me unstuck myself.
Good. Oh my gosh, what a great place to close. So, Angela, for those people who are interested in learning more about you, where can we reach you?
My website is angelajeffreys.com, and Jeffreys is JEFFREYS.com.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, thanks for being here today, Angela, and looking forward to future connections with you. I love being in your world, in your orbit.
And you too, Karen. I enjoy working with you so much. It's so much fun, and I don't feel like I'm being judged or criticized. And that's what I love the most about working with you. So
Hmm,
thank you for your sincerity and your help.
you're so welcome. And that's a wrap of another episode of Ignite Your Confidence. I'm your host, Karen Laus. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps other people find the podcast faster, and it certainly helps me. If you're interested in more tips and tools around confidence, please join me over in my Facebook group called Ignite Your Confidence with Karen Laus. Remember, you too can stand out with unshakable confidence.